All right, guys, Theolano here again. Today we are looking at a Colt six shooter, so a revolver cylinder. We will be hand engraving this portion. I've already gone through and laid out our template that we're going to be following. So let me wait till a few people are on, and then we will get started. Sorry, guys, we're cleaning the lens on the microscope, making sure we can actually see correctly today. When we get started, I have already sharpened the graver, so we are sharp. Now, with these cylinders, guys, these are hard because, well, it's a round cylinder. So when we're looking at doing something like this, we've got to take into account that as we spin, we've also got to follow the contour of all of the cylinders. So that's why cylinders can be kind of tricky. So wish me luck on this one. Go. It's a good little, nice little cut. Make sure that we've still got a sharp tip. Awesome, no issues. And we keep cutting since this scroll, this backbone went behind. So we're starting there. Tea time. Sounds like a cow. Yeah, I guess it does. How whenever I push that foot pedal. So yeah, guys, this is a cylinder for a 6-shooter revolver, a Colt. It's a really nice gun, so I cannot mess up on this. So yeah, we're adding some scroll work to it, and it's already hand engraved. So we want to make sure that that's why we're not doing any sort of, we weren't doing any deep laser engraving or anything like that. We've used it just to lay down the design, just because it's easier that way. But in order to make sure that it looks the same throughout the entire pew, we got to make sure that we keep a hand engraved theme. And so the client has asked me to do it by hand. And so I said, okay. Now this right here is going to be background, so we're just going to take care of it now. Since we're here, before I forget, it's just easy to take care of it. So this one's going to be not a deep relief, but a deeper relief background. That is why we're doing it there. Now the customer specifically wanted deeper engraving, so that's why we're going deep right now with it. Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Brett Skinner, how much would it cost to engrave Skinner? What do you mean? I guess. What do you mean by Skinner? Not sure. Sorry. Oh, okay. Well, so as far as what the client is paying for this, I think I ended up quoting him around 400 total for the job. So that's 6 of these spots all the way around. And as you guys are going to see, it's going to take me a while. I quoted him that. Hopefully I can finish it before that. But that's what I quoted him. Jordan Petty, I do not currently. Basically, I'm just kind of running it on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. But we are using the Airgraver Lindsay. It's the classic, and we're using a 120 degree graver, carbide graver from GRS. So it's a C-Max graver. All right, guys. Okay, so I'm going to give you an idea of what this looks like under the microscope. Jordan Petty, hey, so go on if you guys want to follow me on Instagram. I've got Mountain River Design is my Instagram. Feel free to reach out on me, and we can work on something. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what this looks like under the microscope. So hold on for just a second. There we go. So hopefully that gives you guys an idea. I'm going to point out. So we're looking at, obviously, the engravings. This is a bright cut. We're going to blue it afterwards. But you can see where the lasers come through. And this is where the difference between a laser and a hand engraved piece really goes. I'm trying to find something to point out that's not going to scratch anything. So all right, so you can obviously see the hand engraved cuts, but then the laser's been used to etch out the design that I drew up by hand. You can see that it's little dots. They're just tiny little dots, and that's how lasers work. They run dots one way, other way, and we can set them to where they kind of revolve and rotate around. But it never gives you quite as clean of a cut like a hand engraved V cut does with the 120 degree graver. So hopefully, let me see. Hopefully that gives you guys a better idea of what we're looking at. As you guys can see there, the dots that the laser puts down compared to the hand engraved portion that we've just been doing. So all right, guys, get back to it. All right. So hopefully that's teaching you guys a little bit of what the difference between a hand engraved piece and a laser engraved piece is going to look like. I have nothing against lasers. I have one, obviously, and I use it as a tool in my shop. But hand engraving is by far my favorite. So let's get going here. Jordan, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, Jared, appreciate it. Guys, if you're just swinging through, we are hand engraving a cylinder from a Colt revolver. This is just a mild steel that's been blued. All right, while we're here, we're going to start this other scroll. So the backbone is the main thing that you guys want to focus on. So that's the swirl you see. That's going to be what sets out your layout for everything else as far as your leaves go. So as a lot of the teachers will teach us, scroll really derives from plants. So we look at where it's growing from. From here, we're looking at it. It kind of grows from the middle here and goes outwards. And so we're going to work on this other backbone on the outward portion right here. El Polso, yeah. So I use a laser. So I drew up a design on Procreate, and then obviously vectorized it, and then went on my laser and set the template out. Thought about using the ink, the transfer ink method, but I've got there's 6 of these. In order to save time, I just the laser just works so much better for stuff like this. The only problem with lasers, as you guys know, once it's in, it's in. So you have to be 100% sure of what you're doing. Maximilian, it's a Colt revolver. I need to see it, look at it. Honestly, it's a really nice Colt revolver, I will admit. I was extremely impressed with it. I was I was a little wary to take on the project for the client because it's such a nice Colt that I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll give it my best shot. And so we're trying to make sure that's why you won't hear me talk a whole ton throughout this feed, because I am trying to make sure that I'm doing this correctly for him. Okay. There we go. Let's see, Sebastian, the Smart Pro Air Do S. Honestly, I have never heard of that one. I'm going to be honest. I can tell you as a hobbyist, this is probably your best bet right here. I really highly recommend Steve Lindsay's Air Graver. I really enjoy it. I use the GRS model as well, and then I have a pulse graver, but I haven't taken out the pulse graver in months, honestly. And the air graver, the GRS one is great, but it takes up a lot of air. And that was one thing that I wasn't too big of a fan of, was how much air go. Okay, let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm under the... yes, Bass Rutten, it is pneumatic air graver, Air Lindsay, and I'm controlling it with my leg. There's a foot pedal. You're correct, Matthew, yes. Come and go. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the easiest of jobs when it comes to the pressure goes. Sebastian, for this, I would get the Lindsay air graver. I mean, this shouldn't be over. I think it's like $1,600 for one of these, like $1,600. And so I don't know, NZD. I'm not sure. It's New Zealand, maybe New Zealand dollar. Thank you, appreciate it, guys. All right, I'm gonna get back to the microscope. I will answer questions as best I can as I go, but like I said, we are engraving this Colt cylinder. If you guys haven't subscribed, I do appreciate a subscription. Helps me out. Again, guys, without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. I am super happy to say that we are now officially a YouTube partner. So I apologize if you guys see ads come up. But yeah, I couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you again for all the support. It's been awesome. Okay. We're just cleaning some engravings up there. JT, so I used, this one was, I used a laser because, well, it's already blued. So using a laser at really low power basically just gets rid of the bluing, which allows a stenciling effect to be set. Usually I would say use an ink and transfer. If this wasn't a pre-designed piece, I would actually likely be doing it just by hand. So I usually, if you've seen some of my other stuff, I actually like to just draw it out by hand as I go. I mean, I try to get a decent idea of the design I've got going. But this revolver had other engravings on it, so I have to basically follow the exact same design style from the past artists in order to match the style, so it doesn't look, I guess, janky. So that's what I'm doing, is matching the same style as the last engravers that have done work. There's actually 2 other engravers that have done work on this revolver. So it'll be 3 with me. And so I am just following their similar design style and trying to match their engraving. Okay. Bass Rutten. So the chatter marks. So what's kind of cool about pneumatic ones when it comes to the higher speeds that you're able to accomplish is that chatter marks, usually seen by, like if I ever show some of my chasing hammer stuff, when you're hammering away, you do get chatter marks. You don't get chatter marks as often with a pneumatic piece. It's a lot more of a mirror finish, very bright cut. Not saying that it doesn't happen. It does happen, but not as often. CJ Kazmarek, I don't think it is. Honestly, like, I'm gonna probably, knowing what this customer and client is doing now, I'm probably, for future reference, on all my art pieces that I finish, that I've completely like designed myself, I'm probably gonna set out an art agreement contract that basically says, hey, you will not allow anyone else to touch this, or all the values ruined on it or whatever. Because when I set up all my art pieces, all my pieces that I work on, I do them as an art piece, right? A theme. So this one's kind of a unique one that I'm working on for this client. Is he's like, I just want more engravings. And he's like, you're the artist. I'm like, well, I am the artist, but at the same time, you have to keep the same style. I can't just go crazy on this with my own style. I have to keep it to their style. So yeah, not super common that I've seen. JT, as far as beginner's engraving budget, so the first thing I would say is obviously pencil and paper. Learn how to draw scroll. That's going to be your saving grace right there. You can make a lot of money on design and stuff by just drawing and designing. Now, the second thing I would say is learn your graver geometries, how to sharpen, because this right here, it does the whole, like, the magic is in the graver. So if the graver is not sharp or it's dull, you will have horrendous engravings. It'll look like a 5-year-old child got a hold of a piece and did it. So do not underestimate the power of understanding your graver geometries. This is a 120. This is a bigger one. But to give you an idea, I've got other ones. You've got onglettes. So these are onglette gravers right here. This is a round bottom. You can see a tiny heel. You have obviously push gravers. Push gravers like these right here. You can use them on like copper, and you can use them on steel. It's just harder. And you don't even need a hammer or pneumatics. So if you can get your hands on some push gravers on like eBay for cheap, man, try it out. Go do some push graving. Learn how to sharpen them, and you will go very far. You've got other. This is, I believe, a 120 as well. So same geometry. Actually, this is a 130. Actually, this is one of my wide ones. I made this one especially for a wide cut, but this is a 130 tiny one right here. So modern firearms actually mainly use lasers. Most of the firearms you see nowadays are all lasered. I don't know any manufacturers right now that, aside from some high-end manufacturers that use hand engraving. So, like Cabot guns, Cabot will still all hand engrave. In fact, it's a master engraver by, I think a lot of his are done by Lee Griffith. And that man is amazing. I cannot touch his skill at all. He is an amazing engraver. Some of the other engravers that other manufacturers that use hand are I'm trying to think. I think Kings River Customs. They've got an engraver, in-house engraver, I think, that does it, if I remember right. I like his engravings. They look nice. Bass Rutten, yes, this is a C-Max tip. So this is a GRS has a specialty metal. They call it C-Max. I'm gonna guess it's a carbide, maybe a carbide tungsten tip. Not sure what they use, but I use a C-Max tips from GRS. They're gravers. They are my they're my go-to. Hugo, so Bellino, yeah, I'd like to try some more Bellino. I'm not great at it right now. I definitely want to try it here soon in the future. I've just been so busy with the deeper engraving stuff that my Bellino practice and work has kind of taken a back seat for now. Most of the people that I get nowadays are wanting bright cuts. Jared, I do this part-time. This is just kind of the side. Mike, I used the laser on this one. This one's pre-designed with I pre-designed this one. Then I used the laser to go back in and basically take the bluing off and give me a light template. What I taught on the last video, if you guys look at my last live that I did, I went over the the toner method. So it's basically a toner acetone transfer method. What we do with that one is it's a really simple process. You need a laser jet printer, but you get like I got tracing paper. This is just like 25-pound tracing paper, and you print with a laser jet. So this is toner on it, and then you put it on. Make sure that this is obviously cleaned off with alcohol, no oils, nothing. I'd put this on, then you get acetone and dab acetone on the top. Once you've dabbed acetone on the top, you can remove, and there should be ink transferred onto your piece right here. Jared Creek, good. I hope you you pick it up. Just realize that it's once you're in, man. Like, I don't know if you've seen that Malcolm in the Middle episode where it's like, son, once you start, there's no going back. Just gonna tell you, once you start doing this stuff, it's super addicting. I really enjoy this, and I just kept dumping more and more money into hand engraving stuff. So just keep that in mind. Once you start. I don't think there's any going back after that. Hugo, as far as like textbooks, there are a few. Let me see if I can remember them. All right. There's The Art of Engraving. I think you can pick it up on what's it called, on eBay. That one's a really good one. I think it's fairly cheap on eBay. Now, what I would suggest is probably one of the best ones is if you're, I'm going to give you like a second or two, make sure you have something to write this down, is write some of these names down so you guys can look these guys up. These are master engravers that I highly, highly suggest you follow. So, all right, ready? So look up Lane Zulke. Lane Zulke is one of them. So Lane Zulke is great. He's a master engraver, amazing engraver. Sam Alfano. amazing engraver again. Ken Hunt. I'm trying to think. Ken Hunt, usually I think he has somebody post his videos by the name of like Cheryl something. But Ken Hunt, look his stuff up. So look up those three. They're amazing engravers. And they have a pretty good social media presence on YouTube. So on YouTube, if you look up Lane Zulke, he has a lot of good stuff when it comes to learning how to engrave. Look up GRS on YouTube. GRS is also a great resource. They post a lot of educational material, especially related to their products, but just in general, really good educational material. Right. Sorry, guys. I've been looking through the... So, Lane Zulke, Sam Alfano, and... Yep, Lane Zulke, Sam Alfano, and Ken Hunt are going to be your best bets, guys. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, so we are pretty much done with this one. That took us 45 minutes, which is actually about right on the time that I quoted the customer, because I'm like, hey, each one of these is going to take me an hour, because I've still got to go through and actually take out the background and do a bunch of other stuff. But before we go on to that, we're going to the next one right here. All right, guys, if you're just coming through, if you've already saw everything I just did, please subscribe. Look at some of the other lives as well that we've gone through. I try to go over a lot of the stuff when it comes to learning this. If you guys can't seem to find it, please reach out. All right, we're going to quickly sharpen this before we go on to this next one. Now, on sharpening this, all I'm going to do, everything else is sharp, so I'm going to go ahead and just sharpen the face, which should sharpen the blade edge on both of these sides. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the sub. Thank you, Bass Rutten. I know that this can be long, guys, so I totally understand you guys just popping in and checking it out later. This is not a fast art by any means. Awesome. Okay. Guys, this right here, this is a diamond polishing wheel. So I definitely suggest you getting it. It's just like, honestly, this rotary I just got from Harbor Freight, and it's worked great for me. I didn't spend a ton of money on the Fordham ones that people spend a shiz load of money on. I've been using this one and it's been working great. So I think this cost me like 40 bucks, and then the wheel itself costs like 20 bucks. So it's served great so far. Sebastian, if you're looking for more information, please reach out to me on my Instagram, on Mountain River Design. I don't want you putting out your email on here and then getting absolutely bombarded by spam by any means, hopefully. Okay, we are sharp. Back we go to this one. Now, guys, we're only going to be on here today for an hour. I try to keep most of these lives to 1 hour. Sometimes I do quick 30-minute sessions. Again, guys, that's why working with cylinder objects, just so you guys know, is a lot harder than working with a flat object. So pick your projects wisely, especially if you're beginning on this. Do not pick a round object, especially if you don't have a setup for it. I'm lucky enough to have this this jig made by Mike Duber. Bass, I don't do a ton on aluminum. Aluminum is actually kind of a finicky metal. It tends to tear. So it's like, instead of cutting like steel does, it tends to grab, and it's soft enough that it's almost gummy. It's like really gummy, and so it tends to tear, and it never looks super bright. Not saying you can't do it, but just understand that it's not going to be a bright cut like you're getting here, these sheens and stuff. It's not going to look like that because aluminum tends to it's just gummy, so it almost tears. It's the best way that I can explain it. Have at it, though. I mean, test it out, see if you like it, and if it works, it works. People do engrave aluminum, don't get me wrong, but I just don't like how it looks, so I tend to stay away from aluminum. I don't know what Airgun Legends. I don't know what revolver this one's for. Honestly, I should have paid more attention when he told me the exact model. It's a Colt revolver, 6-shooter. I'd have to go look at my books. I put it in my books, but I didn't pay much attention as to what caliber it was or what model year. All right. Sorry guys, I'm playing some stuff on the background in my headphones, so I'm just trying to put something that I can play in the background. Oh, art too good. Hey, I appreciate the comment. At the same time, hopefully it's not doing that. We'll say most people with stuff like this are going to definitely keep it in a safe. All right, guys. Justin Walker. So this is going to have obviously 6 identical cuts like this, and we've got to do all the work and stuff. So something like this, I think I quoted the customer around 400. So it gives you an idea. I'm saying it's going to take me at least 8 hours worth of work, I think. I don't think YouTube live streaming hours are usually a great example of it, though, because obviously I'm coming away from the microscope and talking to you guys, answering questions. But so I think it would take me about 8 hours worth if I was just straight doing it without any sort of anything else distracting me away from engraving. But yeah, that gives you an idea, hopefully. Oof, my shoulder. Sorry, guys. I just tore a pec muscle recently, and I'm finally getting back into being able to use my arm and stuff. And man, I get random sharp pains. So give me a second while I recover. I think the nerves are coming back. They're growing in, and oh, buddy. Sorry, I just looked over. My dog is cold, so I'm turning his heater on. Cody Moore, yes, you can set diamonds in engravings. In fact, one of the lives I had, or maybe not a live, I know that it's one of my shorts. I have a 1911 front sight that I engraved, that I actually put 2 diamonds set into the front. Do I think it's okay? So I'm going to tell you my story, guys. So I'm one of those guys that has to learn the lesson the hard way. So if you guys can take anything away from what I'm about to tell you, hopefully it's this. I tend to look at something and go, I can do it. I can build it, or I can get away with something else. So I start building it or make it. I'm not happy with the way it looks. So then I end up buying the original piece anyways, after I spent hours and days and sometimes months working on something trying to make it the same, and I can't. So there's that. Take that with a grain of salt. Next one. My next issue was if I bought the Amazon special, like the engravers that you find on Amazon. Well, I'm not using it. I don't have it anymore. So I bought 2 of them before I learned my lesson, so I lost like almost $1,000 doing that crap. So at the end of the day, guys, I've learned a lesson as I've gotten older. You're going to end up paying for it one way or the other, whether it's in quality of your work, or whether it's in time, or whether it's in money. And unfortunately, I paid in all 3 of those ways because I'm stubborn and think that I'm going to get away with being able to do it the easy route, which there is no easy route. So I would say invest in a good system like this right here, and you will not regret it, in my opinion. But if you buy something like Amazon specials, I luckily will probably guarantee you're going to regret it. You know, I'd be 90% inclined to say that you're going to regret buying cheap. Oh, well, Bass, sorry to hear that. Yeah, no, I'm sure that's rough. Yeah, after this injury, I've been dying to get back on the bench, and finally slowly started getting on the bench about a week ago. Little movements, and if you guys followed me when I was doing La Última Cena on that 1911 slide, that was in the recovery mode still, and I'm still in recovery mode, obviously. You know, the thing with chest muscles is the doc is saying, 6-month recovery. Oof. Yeah, like right now, my rotator cuff is starting to fire up real nice. Even though I'm not really using it, it's just been giving me issues today just because it's probably growing nerves. I will say, guys, another investment piece for engraving is a microscope, a stereoscopic microscope. That one you can probably get away with going with like a cheap, like the Amsco one. I had one of those, and those actually work decent. Like, not as good as the Meiji that I have right now. But to give you an idea, I had a really nice Leica A60, which is like one of the top of the line ones. That's a lot of money. And I didn't like it. It started messing with my eyes. And it has something to do with the way that it focuses. It kind of tricks your brain into thinking that one is focused and then the other one is made for depth. So what ends up happening is my brain was going, what's happening? And it kept trying to focus, and it was giving me headaches and all sorts of problems. So I actually do not like the Leica A60 because it does not work with me. It works with a lot of people, and if you get it, it'll likely work for you. But it was not working for me. Again, guys, I cannot express how thankful I am to you guys who are tuning in, everybody who's subscribed. We YouTube partnered this week, actually. So I am a YouTube partner officially. So if you see ads come up, I apologize. It's part of the deal, apparently. They probably played ads anyways prior to that. Unless you were on like YouTube Premium or something. Nice. Hugo, I'd say a la carte is fine. You don't have to buy everything at once. Really get your main stuff going. I would say get the Lindsay sharpening system or a similar sharpening system. That way you can get your gravers nice and sharp and polished. You need to be able to get these sharp and polished, obviously. get a decent graver. If you can't get a decent graver, I would say go with hammer and chisel or the push method and learn that method, because that's a great method to learn anyways. And then, save up for a nice piece like this. There's another guy. I mean, it's a guy out of Vietnam. Apparently, it's kind of starting something up. I don't know if he's impinging on the Lindsay patent or not, but his stuff looks decent. I don't know. I haven't tested it out, so I couldn't tell you. GRS does have nice ball vices. The ball vice I got, this one right here, I think it's like a Pepe Tools or Victor. I bought it on eBay for like $200, and it's a big, like, heavy dual one. Like, so you can find some good deals on eBay, especially if they're used. Check out your local Facebook marketplace. I found some good buys. In fact, I couldn't get it because the gentleman was outside and he was down in Utah, like southern Utah, but he was selling one of these for like $400 or $600 or something like that. And I'm like, that is an amazing deal for one of these. So you can find them. Yeah, GRS. Yeah, man. How much did you get it for, Andrew? That's always like, how much did you end up paying for the GRS vice? Like, you can get some wild deals, especially if people don't know what they have sometimes. Obviously you never want to rip somebody off, but Scenic Outdoors. What's up, dude? Glad to see you on here. As far as the passion, honestly, I want my art to, keep on living. And it seems firearms have been, a way that art has transcribed and really transcended over time and evolved. I mean, it's gone from swords, from noblemen, to obviously officers in the military having very nice embellished firearms, or heirlooms in families. And really, that's the passion behind it, is hopefully I can be the guy that does that for somebody and create a piece of art that can be admired, a century from now by somebody. So $300, dude, that's an amazing buy. Crap, man, I wish I could find something like that for $300 on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give you $400 for it. George Allen, thank you, appreciate it. All right, let's see, making sure that. So I've got a leather strap, guys. This is one other things that you kind of want. This is a leather strap on just a piece of wood. It's got some polishing, just some polishing residue on there. And we just, I just like to polish my gravers like this with the leather strap. You've probably seen old school barbers do this. And this is a great way to keep stuff polished. Jesse Schuster, Lindsay Air Graver. That's the one I'm using. Andrew, there's several different ways. So like I've explained in some of the other lives, the last live I actually did was the ink method, or the toner method. So if you've got a laser printer, you can do it. With acetone and basically transferring the ink on from a print that you've resized perfectly, like on Adobe AI or something like that, and then transferring it on. the toner will actually transfer from the paper onto the metal with acetone. This method that I'm using today was using a fiber laser. So fiber lasers can also do it. CO2 lasers cannot, but with a CO2 laser, what is kind of cool if you only have a CO2 laser for metal, is if you get paint and you paint the metal, and then you CO2 your design, use a CO2 laser for your design, it'll take away the paint, and once it takes away the paint, it leaves your perfect template. That's another method. The next method that you'll see me use quite often as well is, just hand drawing it on. Like I've explained, for this one though, I don't want to do that because this is a client's piece and I don't got room for error on this one. So we are engraving it as close to the previous pattern style. I drew this one up to kind of differentiate it from the other engravings on the firearm, the revolver, but very similar style to the last artist. What's up, last noob? Jesse Schuster, anytime. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Been running a little sick, so you'll hear me clear my throat out here and there. All right. And guys, we're not going to finish this at all tonight. So, in fact, I'm looking at the time and it's getting close to end of day, close of business for me. I say close of business. My house is not far from me, but time to relax later. I do enjoy spending some time with you guys though. Thank you for tuning in though. All right. Take this other leaf. There we go. And then again, guys, scroll work, drawing scroll work is key to learning how to engrave. If you can draw the design, then you should, in theory, be able to engrave fairly easily. Right, let's see. Thank you, Alpha Industries. Thank you for tuning in. Eat my rubber ducky. Thank you for tuning in. All right, you know what? I want to show you guys what the engravings look like under the microscope. So since you guys have been tuning in with me for a little while, let's go ahead and look at it under the microscope as I cut, just to give you guys a little different perspective, hopefully. All right, let's look at this. So we'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. It's going to be a little shakier, guys. Just bear with me because it's really sensitive, obviously. So when we look at cutting, so we look at obviously getting the tip right where we need it to be. And we start we only cut when we're moving. go. Silly Billy, thank you for sticking around. I'm glad it's intriguing you. Yeah, we are just engraving this Colt cylinder. So when we're looking at, you know, tackling this this engraving, yeah, once you start looking at it under a microscope, there's imperfections, guys. There's always going to be imperfections. There's always imperfections even with laser work, though. It's just so small with the small dots and stippling that you can't, the human eye just can't make it out. So you see all these little chatter marks, they don't matter. You won't be able to see them. It still looks shiny to the naked eye. And that's, I think, what Bass Rutten was talking about. He was saying, you know, what about the chatter marks? And chatter marks were really prevalent in hammer and chisel work. Just straight hammer and chisel, because you're a little slower. So each time you hammer, there's a little bit of a restart, because we're not perfect as humans, obviously. And so, since it's a slower hammering process, the mirror shine isn't quite as well, but the naked eye can't tell. And if you look at some of those hand chiseled pieces, they look perfect. Even though once you look at them under a microscope, there's some imperfections, which is totally fine. Understandable. And this is why I like hand engraved work. It gives it a little bit more character. What do you guys think? Awesome, guys. I'm going to do this one for you guys because it's going to be really satisfying. I can already tell you right now, because we're going to be starting here. And I love these longer engravings. Just like that. See that? Love that cut right there. So. Andrew, awesome. Glad to hear that. Hopefully you can tune in. If you're going to run your channel, I'll make sure to subscribe, guys. Yes. Hey, Johnston. So we will be bluing. So I'm going to go through with a cold blue. And so first we'll obviously clean it with alcohol and some painter solvent. Make sure that there's no I guess oils or gunk or anything in those engravings. And then we're going to go through and just dab it with some cold bluing, and it'll look just like it does. It'll match. Brandon, engraving on a 6-shooter Colt revolver cylinder. A layout process, guys, on this one. Obviously, hand designing it. With this one, we were matching the style from the previous artist who worked on the firearm itself. And I just wanted to match the style. And we're using a 120-degree graver. You will see most of my work with a 120-degree graver. It's what I enjoy. It's what looks good to me. Again, guys, right now what you're looking at this with 17 power. If we go even to like 10 power, that's 10 power right there. So we're all the way up into like the 17, 20 power range. So yeah, the naked eye does not pick up on a lot of the imperfections that engravings have. If you guys are engraving and you're beginning engraving, do not try cylinders for your first project. Please, just take my word for it. Do not do it. If you want to practice on a cylinder, go grab a copper pipe from like Home Depot or something and have at it. And you'll learn real quick that you do not want to do it. Especially for your first project. Cylinders, like rounded parts, I'm like, I dread rounded parts, so I debated on doing this on live or not, just in case I accidentally totally screwed up. So hey Johnston in Idaho. Hammer and chisel with detailed work. Yes, you can actually. So Sam Alfano actually shows it. He's got one video up that I watched. He does a hammer and chisel under the microscope like this. So it is doable. Is it practical? Probably not. But doable. And Sam proved it. So now, with that being said, you can definitely do a lot more detailed work with a pneumatic engraver. To give you an idea, let me go ahead and show you right here, right now. I'm going to do a really light engraving. Okay, so that gives you an idea. Like, we can go deep or we can go light. And this engraving right here is actually plenty, like on a stainless steel piece. If you were to do that and you used ink, it would look like a very prominent line. So but with the style of engraving that this client wants and the style that the previous artists had, it was fairly deep engraving. So, and I'm glad it was, because if it hadn't been, I probably would have told the client that I don't want to do this. Especially if it's somebody else's art that I'm touching. Sorry guys, I'm trying to look at the... Lift's peachy awesome, man. You guys doing all right over there now in North Carolina? Blazing 420, thanks for tuning in, man. So, hey Johnson, on a Dremel type, there are instances where you're going to need a Dremel. Most of the time it's going to be for background work. Dremels make short work of background work. The blade edge, as you guys can see here, this is polished. It's polished and it's basically a knife edge. This right here is a heel. So you see how this is your belly, the belly right here. And then there's a heel and it's this shiny part, and then your face is right here. This heel is very, very short and small, obviously. Sorry, you guys are seeing my nails up close. But to give you an idea, I mean, it is really, really nice and sharp. And so that's what we use. That has to be polished in order to cut correctly. Yeah, if you engrave a gun, man, you got to make sure that you obviously protect it with some sort of protective coating. I mean, I'm going to do bluing on this one. Make sure you get it. Glad to hear you guys are getting better down there. I know you guys have been going through a tough time. Now, you guys tell me, what do you guys prefer? Do you guys like going back and forth between the side profile view and the microscope view? Do you guys just prefer the side profile, like phone view? Or do you guys just prefer the microscope view? Again, this is, I'm so new to this. Like I said, thanks to you guys, we are now YouTube partners. All the subscriptions, all the support that I've gotten from these live feeds has made it possible. But now I'm just trying to really refine what I can give you guys, you know, education-wise, tool-wise, just entertainment-wise. What do you guys prefer at the end of the day? All right, guys, we're gonna switch it up. But I got you guys. Yeah, no, I'm just looking at. It's easier for me to look at your guys' questions and comments when I'm like right here. But yeah, I mean, now you guys can kind of have an idea of what it looks like under the microscope when I'm working versus what you guys are seeing here on this camera. Michael, glad it's satisfying. Yeah, it's satisfying for me too when I get a good cut. Not satisfying when I do a bad cut, though. All right, let's see. What we're going to do is we're just going to finish this up today, guys, tonight, and we'll call it a night. So I mean, I've still got a few cuts, so it's not like I'm going off air anytime too soon. Oh boy. Let's see. It's funny, I lost my centering. So, if you don't know, centering is basically where the Lazy Susan is circling. So if I'm not on center and I spin it, it basically spins out of my view. And sometimes that happens just because the stand moves or the microscope moves or something. So on that one, I just moved the microscope a little bit. Hours wise, the burrs, I mean, there shouldn't be burrs. So, like right here, I've got no burrs right now. If there are burrs, you got to go in and clean it with this. Or if there are burrs that you can't clean it with this, then it would be sanding and buffing. Do not want to do that with this one, obviously, because this one's blued. Derek Regala, Learning Engraving. YouTube, my friend. Start by, well, obviously, hopefully watching me do some of it. Hopefully that helps and gives you an idea of what you need to do. On top of that, make sure you go on YouTube, follow Sam Alfano, Lane Zulke, follow Ken Hunt. Also go on to and follow GRS Tools for GRS. They have some excellent educational material. And on top of that, ask questions. If I don't get to you, I do apologize. I try to get to everybody as soon as I can. But believe me, I will get to you eventually, one of these days. And yeah, just lots and lots of YouTube and read some books. Art of Engraving is one. There's a few more. I'll have to come back with tomorrow. I'll make sure that I have books, my books that I have in my library tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow doing this, guys. So if you don't catch my lives in time, please, I do publish them. They are public, so you can go back in and watch them as well. Hey, Johnson, appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Bass Rutton, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night. If you guys can, obviously, if you guys are going just through, please feel free to subscribe if you have already subscribed. Again, I publish these lives, so you can also check them out later if you can't watch the full one, or if you guys just want to fast forward through some of the stuff and get to the part where maybe you need to know how I'm doing it. Totally understand, because I do the same thing with everyone else when I'm trying to learn something. All right, we are almost done, guys, with our second engraving of the same pattern. So again, guys, if you guys are watching this and you guys are getting bored, believe me, it's going to be the same stuff over and over and over again until we're done. The only time it's going to switch is once we're done with everything. We are going to go back through and do some shading and some background work. So keep that in mind. You will definitely want to tune in for that if you haven't done any background work. Background work is important as well. And unfortunately, background work is probably one of the most boring parts of engraving. Awesome, guys. Okay. So, give you an idea. We've got 2 down. 2 down with the main scroll work out of the way. After we're done with that, we've got to go in and take out some of the background relief. And then we're going to go in with a stipple, and we're going to stipple the background. And then we're done with that. Then we go in and shade. And once we're done shading, then we can clean it and do the bluing on it. So before I tune out, guys, I'm going to answer the last couple questions. Kobe, it's the Lindsay Airgraver. Andrew, yes, save for the system. I'm going to tell you, I forgot to tell you, I have a 4-dumb hammer piece. It sucks. Flat out blows. Don't get it. I do not get it. I don't use it for almost anything at all. So don't get it. Flat out. Save your money. You'll be much happier with an air pneumatic or even a pulse graver, which pulse gravers are even more money. So Steve Lindsay's air graver or a GRS graver is much better. Hey, Johnson, have a good one. Thank you. Thank you. Andrew Dibben, yes, in Idaho. Yes, Andrew, yeah. It's, anytime, man. Like, it sucks. Do not get it. Kobe, get yourself some practice plates. So go to your nearest, I'd say just, here, let me. Good God, I'm making a mess over here. Go to your nearest just metal store, Home Depot, and get yourself one of these. Get yourself a laser printer if you've got one, or even just hand draw. And these mild steel plates, practice on them. Practice, practice, practice. So I've got like 100 of these around. So they're just mild steel plates. So that's a good project to start with, especially if you haven't done any. It lets you see how bad it is or how good it is, how good you are or how bad you are. All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, keep drawing, keep creating art. Diu Lalo is out for the night.